Awesome, thanks. I'm here to talk about SEO today, and just a little bit of an overview of some of the best practices and things that you can do in order to improve how you are ranking in organic search for your school. Just gonna make sure that I have my chat window open so I can see things that pop up. Okay. So search matters. It's something that we all do in every single facet of our lives. I can't remember the last time where I wondered about something and didn't immediately Google it. It's one of those things that, it's second nature. It's something that we do when we're researching just about anything. So of course, anyone who's a prospective student is definitely going to be looking for you online or looking for programs like yours online, and you want to be able to show up. Google receives an average of over 63,000 searches per second, 5.6 billion searches per day, and 2 trillion searches per year, just to give you an idea of the volume of what's going on. As far as like how Google decides what shows up in search, that is all about the algorithm. So Google's algorithm ranks websites based on over 200 factors. These can include things such as relevance, authenticity, your link quality, your trust rank, the navigation on your site, affiliate links, site speed. All of these things factor in. Google, of course, it's their secret sauce. You don't know exactly every single thing that they're ranking your site on and how it combines together to create your ranking. But it is good to, to keep in mind that there is so much that goes into deciding where things rank on the search engine results page. The pursuit of a better ranking, so showing up higher and better in search engine results, is search engine optimization. So a lot of people talk about SEO and what doing SEO is. So doing SEO is a series of intentional business decisions to allocate resources to either growing, improving, or steering the flow of a brand's organic traffic. So doing SEO means that you're actually taking actions and you've devoted some time and resources to get this work done. SEO is incredibly valuable. So as a quick thing that you can do right now, you can go to spyfoo.com and plug in your school's URL to see how much your organic search traffic is estimated to be worth. So this gives you an idea of how much you would have to pay for this traffic if you were having to run paid search ads to get in front of these folks or other digital advertising. A good way to think about organic search is that it's essentially free advertising. You are on the main street of the internet, and the more prominent that your search ranking is, it's like having the biggest sign on the block. It means that you're going to stand out and you're going to get a lot of people coming by simply because they see that you're prominent and that you must be relevant to what it is that they're looking for. So how does SEO fit in for higher education? In general, a good higher education website, simply working the way that it should, is already optimized for search. Now, this means that, if you have, a recent mobile optimized, well laid out website that is up and running the way that it should be, it is already going to be doing a lot for you when it comes to search, and we're going to get into why that is. So the first thing that is good to think about when you're thinking about how to optimize your content for SEO is good structure. So when we think about structure for content on a site, we want to think about topic clusters. So how a good site structure and strong content planning can make for good SEO. The first part of that is pillar content. So a page on your site that's the focus of a keyword. For example, for a college, pillar content could be a degree program page or an academic department page. As a best practice, only one page should have every page should have a unique keyword. And so if you have a keyword for a program, such as an online MBA, the page that should have that as its primary keyword should be the program page and only that page. And so that would be considered pillar content. Cluster content, so that's content that's related to your pillar content. This could be event pages, blog posts, news articles, faculty pages, video. Each of these pages keyword can be related to the keyword of the pillar content, but not exactly the same. So keywords that would be related to online MBA could be something like online MBA info session, why students love the flexibility of our online MBA, online MBA program ranked #1 by College Board, or meet our online MBA faculty. So these are all different types of content that could live in other parts of your site, whether it's your blog, your faculty page, your news content. And all of these should interlink with your pillar content. And so this is why we're talking about that a well put together college site usually already does this work, because typically, yes, if you have a program page, you typically do have links out to this type of content from it, or you have blog posts and links or news stories that do link back to your program pages. So when you have all of that good structure put in place, or for example, if this was one of your academic departments like your School of Business, and then these were all of your business programs that were interlinked between it, it would be creating a lot of good structure that a search engine can look at and say, okay, this is really relevant to people looking for business programs. This is something that they write a lot about, and here are all the programs that they have. It's easy for the search engine to read that, understand it, and then give you the proper rankings that you should have. The interlinking helps the search engine understand how traffic should flow through your site. And Google will then tell that you have a lot of well-trafficked content for that keyword and related keywords, which will positively impact your search rankings. So what can you do for SEO beyond making sure that you have a well put together site and a good content plan? First and foremost is to conduct an SEO audit. So assess 3 different factors when it comes to your SEO. Technical features of the site, which include hosting, indexing, and crawling. Front-end factors such as content keywords and metadata, and then link quality and outside references. Technical features, so first and foremost, you want to be sure that search engines are able to actually index and crawl your site. Indexing means that they are going to be including you in your search results, and crawling means being able to look at the content on your site and go through it. Google and other search engines use crawlers to understand the content on your site and determine what it is you're writing about and how much of an authority you are on the subject, amongst other things. There are different blockers that you can have, whether in like a robots text file and other like more technical aspects that can block your site from being crawled or indexed. And so if that's going on, you definitely want to check it out. Tools like Google Search Console and Google's mobile-friendly test can provide you insights on crawlability and how user-friendly your site is. User-friendliness is a big factor, making sure that your site is loading quickly and that it's easy to navigate. The easier it is to navigate, makes it easier for the search engine to crawl it, makes it easier for a user to use it. It all is related. Front-end factors. So you can use tools like Moz or Screaming Frog, plug in your site URL, and they're going to help you they're going to help understand the domain authority, your ranking keywords, and other important SEO elements, like if you are missing any meta descriptions, page titles, or headers, all of that follows under your metadata. And the result can showcase your brand and primary keyword. So you can see there whether you're getting the best that you can get out of your brand and primary keywords. And if you see any alerts or issues that are going on, or if your competitors are doing a little bit better than you, you can start to identify some of the things that you want to work on. I think we have a poll question here.
Sure do. Do you want to talk about the percentage or the pop quiz?
Pop quiz is fine.
Okay. Pop quiz. What type of link passes more SEO? Internal or external? Which do you think? Which one passes more SEO? Oh, Over 70% so far are saying external. I'm going to go ahead and end that now.
And yes, that's correct. So basically, search engines believe that what other people say about you is more important than what you say about yourself. Those external, the window keeps on popping up.
I know, it won't, I would keep hitting stop and it keeps, yeah.
Okay. Search engines believe that what other people say about you is more important than what you say about yourself. In other words, if more websites link to your site, you will be able to appear to be more credible. And, you know, that's for obvious reasons. So if you have a bunch of ranking websites or, you know, news publications that are linking to your site, search engines will infer from that that you're an authority. You're somebody that gets cited a lot frequently by other publications and respected sites in order to, you know, determine who knows the most about this certain subject. The other thing is, you know, linking between all of your different domains is good as well, just because it gives Google an understanding of what the relationship between all of your sites are. But those external factors are a big deal. So the best way to do that is have a good PR campaign. And also, you know, making sure that if you are on sites like YouTube or Wikipedia or any of those, that you are well represented and that there's always sites back to your website, where all roads should always lead to your website when it comes to web links. So now it's time to get to work once you've done all of your auditing and deciding which of these other factors that you can improve. So improving your actual metadata. So the portions of the result that show up on the search engine result page is your title, which can be called a meta title, title tag, or page title. These are kind of different things that different people will call it, but it's all sort of interchangeable. It is the first and most prominent part of a search result. Your meta description, which is this text that shows up underneath it. Usually Google will also do this, which they will highlight a portion of it in bold to let people know, like, okay, this is why we're serving you this result in regards to what you've searched for. And then also, so normally when you're, the title for your, the title that pulls into your search result, the default for most, you know, CMSs is going to be whatever your H1 tag and title of the page is what gets pulled in there. But most of the time you can go in and change that, which is good to do, because what you have as a headline for maybe a news article or a blog post on your site might be something really like quippy and clever, you know, maybe it's got a pun in it that you wanted to, you know, put there in order to, you know, get more people to, you know, engaged right off the bat. But as to what the actual subject matter and having something that's really prominent with your relevant keyword in it, you want to make sure that what shows up in search gets right to the point of what this is about, why it's relevant. Your description as well. There are limitations to how long that these can be, and also you don't want them to be too short either. We do have a cheat sheet a little bit later in the slides to get to about that, but these are the three most important components that for any page that you're going to have optimized for search, you want to think about these three things, especially containing your keyword for it. Copy. So what you want to avoid when you're writing copy, especially around keywords, is keyword stuffing. An example of that is this block of text right here. Are you looking for cheap flights? If so, then you have come to Cheap Flights Specialist. All we have is cheap flights. We sold cheap flights to your cousin only last week, so on and so forth. It's bad to do this because, one, it's a really bad user experience, and two, search, you know, it used to be that you could do this and a search engine might be fooled by it. Google's become much more sophisticated. It knows if you're keyword stuffing, it knows this is a bad user experience and that this is kind of a spammy page. They're not going to send people here. You want your copy to be written naturally, but comprehensively enough to include some artfully placed target keywords, natural synonyms, and naturally co-occurring phrases. So if we see an example of that, it would be something like this. So something that uses a lot of related keywords and synonyms is for this text about home brewing is using phrases like making your own beer, production process for ales and lagers, homemade Pilsner and IPA, in addition to just home brewing. So it's really important throughout the page where you're writing about a subject where you do want to rank highly for that keyword, whether it's a blog post or maybe on a program page, that you're using those related keywords to let people know, you know, what this is about, but also have it be well written so that it actually adds value to people coming to your site who are going to read it. This is another example of using related keywords in a way that is well written and tells people more about a subject, using winemaking being a primary keyword, and then using complementary keywords like vintner, grape, vinegar, Viognier, hydrometer, fermentation period, and yeast strains. This is a quick tips. This is something that it's good to keep on you when you're writing for SEO, just to know, okay, how much space do I have to get done what I need to get done. So for your title tag, you usually want to keep that within 50 to 60 characters long. The title for your page can be different than what shows up in your search engine results, but it's important to include your primary keyword in there. Also, a lot of schools have it where you'll have your page title and then the school name appended to the end of your page tag. That's fine. Just make sure that whatever has your keyword in it is closer to the front than pushed further down in the back. For the meta description, you want that to be between 160 and 300 characters long. That's only going to show up in your search engine result page. Usually default, it pulls from whatever the beginning text is on a page. And usually you want to be a lot more descriptive than that as to what's going to be on the entire page, rather than just giving people the first couple sentences of whatever text is on that page. Be sure to include your keyword or any related keywords that are relevant, and make it specific to what you think you know, the needs and desires of people who are going to be searching for it for. Your header count, so make sure that the header on your page itself is really clear so that when your search engine is crawling it, they can understand what it says. However, how long that is really going to depend on your site design and parameters. So always check with you know, folks about that. And then your URL. So Google will show the first 75 characters of the actual link that is going to be in your search engine results. So what you should do is make sure that if there's any site structure or navigation that you need way up front to show people where they are, whether they're going to a different department or if they're going, you know, into your master's programs directory, that it shows up in that front. That's why a good site structure really helps when it comes to links in search engine results. Writing for Google. So as we were talking about before, if you're writing your site in a way that makes it easy for people to understand where to find things, how to navigate, and how to answer any questions that they have, it's better for you because it, you know, is going to give people a really good experience on your site. And search engines have caught on to that, to the point where now most of the time when you Google the name of your school, you are going to get this, people also ask other suggested queries, being like, here, these are some things that we think that you might be looking for based on what we've seen other people search for. And so we call this the answer box, where there is a question. If you hit the little arrow next to it, it'll give you a little featured snippet that they pull from a website they've decided answers this question really well. So the good thing is to be able to go through this when you type in your school's name and determine which out of these questions you want people to be able to get this featured snippet from your school, as opposed to getting it from a rankings report or maybe someone's blog about, you know, how to get into this school, or, you know, comparing school programs. It's better to have them come to you and see you as the authority on their answers to their questions, especially when it pertains to things about getting into your school or topics of interest when it comes to your school. So it's really important to keep abreast of what these questions are, and then understanding how you can weave not only the question, but also really good answer content into the content on your site in order to get and try to win these answer boxes. Stanford has a really good example here where they've been able to do this. And then, so other things you can do when you're trying to write for SEO to improve the amount of people who are coming to your site from organic search, especially when they are in their student journey, is to think about at these different stages of their journey, what might they be searching for? What information do you know that they might be looking for, or questions they might be asking? And then you can write all of those out and then determine, can this question be answered, and can the answer to this question be easily found on our site through our navigation? Is it harder to find? Would you have to kind of poke around our site for it? How do we make that more prominent, or how do we have better, more specific content or content structure to help people find this information? All of this will help a lot in improving user experience on your site, but then also SEO, because the search engines will be able to parse all of this information and understand it better in addition to your users. So another thing that I like to talk about, because a lot of our clients, when we're looking through and seeing, okay, there are some pages on your site that are missing meta descriptions, or their titles are way too long, and they're not really well optimized. And folks will be like, okay, well, those are just our old event pages, or those are just our old blog posts or news stories. But something you should remember is that a lot of this content, news stories, blog posts, events, they can be evergreen when it comes to what prospective students are interested in. They want to know about the kinds of people you've had to come and speak at your campus, or the types of events that you've held. They want to know about the news that's been going on your campus, or any news that as it relates to your college and programs. Also, your blog posts, they can have long legs and last for a really long time if you keep them refreshed and make sure that they're well optimized. So be careful of writing off some of your content as being like, oh, well, prospective students won't be interested in that. People want to look at a lot more than just your program page or your faculty pages to learn about your school. So never, while these might not be your first priority when you're doing SEO, it is something that you should definitely not completely ignore. Something else that's really important is including your links in context or anchor text. When we say anchor text, it means any text that actually contains the link on your site. And the reason is that the search engine crawler can read this. So when they look at this and see, OHO offers a suite of digital marketing services for higher education, they know, okay, because this anchor link has this link within it, this means that this link is going to go to a page that is about digital marketing services for higher education. And that helps the search engine makes determinations about how to rank your content and which content is the most relevant to the person's query. What you don't want to do is have your link inside a text that's just something like click here. Because that's the search engine is not going to be able to infer anything from that text as to what this link is or where it's going, or just have the long link plugged into the site there. That also doesn't create a lot of context that crawlers are able to understand. Anchor text is the most important thing when you're doing some of that interlinking we were talking about before. If you're having your blog post link to your program page, which links to your rankings, which might link to a news story, all of that, if you have your links within the anchor text, the search engine will be able to understand those links and relationships and where all of those places are directing, which goes a long way to helping it understand, what the right content to serve people is. A word about images really quick. So search engine bots and crawlers cannot read the text in your image. So not even that really nice infographic you spend so much time making. So always use alt text and captions, and not just for the bots, but also because there are lots of people with visual impairments and you want your site to be accessible to them. So this really, pulls a lot of weight, and it's something that you should think about. Always add an alt text description to the image to improve accessibility and SEO. Captions are a good alternative if the description is going to be lengthy, or you feel like you have a lot more information that you want to put it within context on the page. An example of this, and this was an example of good writing for SEO that I found while just looking for a picture of a penguin. this free stock image has a caption that reads, "Penguin Aquabat in the Wrocław Zoo, best in Poland." What I would have written probably, or what some people would, your knee-jerk reaction to write is photo of penguins swimming underwater. However, whoever captioned this knew a great caption would help their photo show up not only in searches for penguin, but searches for this specific zoo, and also best in Poland. So now if you're doing an image search for any of those things, this image is going to show up. Maybe that person is going to, get more royalties off of their stock photo because of that. So it was just kind of a funny thing. I was looking for a penguin photo to talk about good captions, and I found a penguin photo that just happened to have a really great caption that I wanted to talk about. And then what about when the algorithm changes? So, okay, you've done all your work, you've optimized all your pages, you've done a good job of making sure that everything has, an optimized keyword and description and title, and you've cleaned up all your 404 errors and all of that. But then Google changes the algorithm, which is completely out of your control. Google makes updates to the algorithm to try to improve the quality and function in their search results. These changes can have a big impact on your SEO rankings and your organic traffic. For example, just recently in May, where if you follow your SEO, you probably already know this, Google made one of the biggest algorithm updates since 2018. It caused massive volatility in the rankings in the days after rollout. Now, why did Google do this? Because search behavior and patterns changed drastically in the wake of the pandemic. Because suddenly when somebody was searching for online learning, maybe they're not looking for a specific program they want to enroll in. Maybe they're looking for, oh God, how do I help my kid with online learning? Or what are the tools that I can use as a teacher for online learning? So they had to get a lot more, they had to make updates to the algorithm to help those types of things. So while you can't control when a Google update is happening or how it's going to affect you, you can control how you react. So don't panic. Keep calm and SEO on. Number one, know where your rankings were before. So keep track of what your rankings are. Know when volatility is hitting. Number two, when the update happens, monitor what's happening to your rankings. Are you going down? Are you benefiting from it? By how much? But then wait for the dust to settle. It's good to know which way you're trending on it, but don't do anything right away, because things will sort of go to a new baseline. They may not go back exactly to where they were before, but the things will settle down and you'll be able to see, like, okay, this is my new kind of normal for ranking. And then you can adjust to that. So if you were a winner from the algorithm change, good for you. It means that, all of your SEO work paid off even better, and Google's update meant that they recognize that. However, if it did hurt you, that's fine. It just is a matter of understanding, okay, why am I not ranking as well for this anymore? Is there, could my page benefit from a rewrite? Are there other aspects that I can optimize for? And keep that in mind. Okay. So I can take questions. That was a lot. It all depends on how SEO savvy everybody is. Sorry, I did get tripped up a little bit with the poll thing there. I get very distracted by popping up screens. So.
No, it's totally fine. So yeah, if you have any questions, I've seen a couple already posted in chat, but please do either post them in the chat window or use the raise hand feature that you should see at the bottom bar of your Zoom window, and I can either audibly or video-wise bring you into the conversation to ask your question. So the first question is from Amanda Robertson. She said, is there a site or tool to see your external links? What happens when domains change and there are external links not updated? Will that hurt our rankings?
Okay, so there are tools. So you can use a tool like Moz. Go to their site. They will give you a report on, give you an index of your internal links, your external links, all of that. It'll also give you a 404 report, which you can use to understand which of any external links that are coming back to your site aren't working and what pages they were trying to drive through. Now, if your domain is changing and you know for a fact there are some pages like Wikipedia, or maybe for a fact your local news outlet maybe has several articles written about your school, it's a good idea to reach out to them and try to explain the situation and see if they have the capacity to get those updated. When it comes to sites like Wikipedia, that's a little bit easier to get updated than your local news site, but it's definitely something you want to reach out about.
Okay, great. Catherine from University of Texas, Dallas has a question. I'm going to unmute her now. Catherine, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, when you're launching a newly designed site or a new site, is there a good place to go through kind of a checklist for your SEO?
Yes. Oh gosh. Yes. So what a good thing to do is understand where you were ranking before. As soon as you launch your new site, things are probably going to have some volatility for a little bit. And you want to definitely use a tool like Moz, or, sometimes there are some tools within your CMS that you can take advantage of, plugins that'll let you know what your 404 errors are. Fixing all those broken links or anything that's missing a meta description or a title is going to go a long way to helping you get back to where you were for rankings. But then you do have to be a little bit patient. When you're launching a new site, it takes a little bit for you to gain back that credibility in the eyes of the search engine. It's not going to take, for example, like a year or anything like that, but it will take a few weeks for things to start catch up. As the more people start coming to your site and navigating through it, it will help search engines understand, like, oh, okay, now this lives here. Setting up all of your redirects will go a long way to doing that too.
Okay, great. Craig Campbell is wondering, how can you track backlinks and what someone does about links that result in 404 errors?
So yeah, okay. So like we were saying, you definitely want to use a tool like Moz where you are getting your link reports so that you can see what sites are linking to your page. Also, if you use Google Analytics, you can go to the referrals area to see what sites are linking to your site and where they're linking to. And you can also run a 404 report error right through, or any crawl errors, indexing errors through Google Analytics in order to see, okay, here are the pages where things are broken and that I need to set up a redirect in order to make sure that I'm not losing anybody trying to come to either an important page, or even if it's not a really important page, it's usually a good idea to set up some kind of redirect in order to make sure that people are having a good experience on your site.
Okay, great. Gray Caldwell from Queen's University of Charlotte is asking, is H1 different from page title? If some pages have a page title, but then the first header is H2 tag, do I need to make sure every page has an H1 tag?
So not every page needs an H1 tag. A way to think about it is that, so the Google's crawl bots, they know that things that are designated as a header, so H1, H2, that's really important information that you have made a priority on the page. So they sort of look at those things first to understand what's on a page, and then, anything that's in regular paragraph text is going to come after. So it is really important. So for example, if you have a blog post that's a list, you might have every, list header. So number 1, number 2, for SEO, it might be metadata, page title, so on and so forth. You could have those in H2, whereas the page title might be in H1, to have the crawl bot understand, okay, this is a blog about SEO and here are the different list items that are in it. It's using that coding language provides like a framework for the bots to understand like what is on a page.
Autumn is noting that for ADA, we need the page title and H1s. So that's what their training has been. Nilsa from Pace was asking for clarity on the name of a tool that was suggested about 4 minutes ago. I don't know which one that was. Was it maybe Screaming Frog that Kara already answered? Oh, it was Moz. She already answered. Okay. So we're all set on that one.
Moz.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I think we have caught up on everything. So great, I think we are all set. Thank you so much, Noelle. That was an awesome session. Really appreciate you.